That's great. Great story. So Gary was obviously passionate about farming, and he found farm managers that are also passionate about farming and what they do. But I wonder, I'm curious, Nicholas, if you always wanted to be a farmer.
I wouldn't say always. I grew up, my father was a distiller when I was born, a lavender distiller, so I grew up around the distillery, around lavender fields, so I did have this all my childhood. But I think when you reach a certain age, often it's when you become an adolescent, you'd rather do anything except what your parents are doing. So I tried running off, I did graphics design, I became a waiter, I did all those things, and this was important because this gave me the possibility to realize what I had left behind and how awesome it was back home. So this little pause, I would say, in my life helped me go back home and never look back, and I know how much privilege I have of doing what I have and how much I love my job.
That's great. You had to go find yourself.
Yeah. I got lost to go find myself. Yeah.
And were you a waiter in the U.S.? You came to the U.S. to work?
Yeah. I was a waiter in the U.S. and that's why you get to hear me talk like that and not like this because it's not the same.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Nicholas. Jason, what about you? Did you always want to be a farmer?
Yeah, I did. For me, that's an easier question. I was born and raised on a farm, and so yeah, I've always wanted to be a farmer ever since I was little. My father was a farmer, my grandfather and great-grandfather, you can go back at least 5 generations in my family of farmers, so it's something that's just kind of inherently built into me. It's just in my blood, so I love to do. And so some of my earliest memories are just riding around in the pickup truck with my dad and riding on the tractor with him. It's where I always wanted to be, was out on the farm. And so if I had it my way, I would have just stayed on a tractor, you know. But his encouragement, he encouraged me to go to school and really understand the science behind growing plants and understand soil science and those kinds of things. And so I went on to college and got my degree in agricultural business management and agronomy and animal science. And so, yeah, I can't imagine doing anything different.
That's great. Corey, it was your lifelong dream to be a farmer ever since you were a child, right?
No, I don't think it was. I never considered having anything. I had no farming in my future till I met Gary.
Yeah. I think that's a common thing. People didn't know what their future was going to hold, and then they met Gary, right? That's something, one of Gary's great characteristics is that he could see people's strengths and what they were good at, sometimes even before they did. So he knew you'd be a great farmer. So that's great. Yeah. All right, welcome. So let's keep talking about farming for a little bit. I'd like to hear how seed to seal is applied at your farms. So we have seed to seal on all of our arm patches there, and sometimes people wonder, was that just a marketing thing, or is this something real that we do? So Kevin, why don't you talk about how seed to seals apply to your farm?
Well, as you all know, St. Mary's has been there for 25 years plus. How many of you in this room has been there and experienced seed to seal with me? Hey. That's pretty sad. The rest of you better get your hands up next time. So, when you come to my farm, I give you the real experience, and we start out with showing you how we collect the seeds that some of those plants have been on that farm for 15 to 20 years. So we collect the seeds, we put them in my office, and they stay there till the next spring till we can use them. Then I have the people that are there that come visit the farm, plant those seeds, and then we show them where those seeds have sprouted. Take those seeds out of that and put them into the field. And then I ask them, when are you going to come back and help us harvest this plant and watch it go into the distillery and then go downstairs and watch the oil come out of this hook? How many companies can do that? And then allow distributors to come and be participants in that. Once you come and do that experience on our farms, on all of our farms, it'll change your whole outlook on what we do and how hard we work every day. And talk to some people that's done it. It's a great experience. So to be able to see that from the point that we collect the seed from our farm to the point that it's oil is fascinating. You can talk about it, but until you experience it, it doesn't really connect. But once you find that connection, it's wonderful. So visit a farm and see our Seed to Seal program.
Thanks, Kevin. You can really hear when you talk about it, the pride that you have for your farm.
Absolutely.
Nicholas, what about you in Ecuador? How do you apply Seed to Seal there?
Okay, Seed to Seal for me and all the farms, you have to know that every step on that process is very important. You have to know that every step is very important because, like, to be over here, we need to step some steps before. Okay, so do you know that in the farm we have a worm house? Do you know that? Yes. So over there we prepare like worm casting. So how we prepare worm casting? We use the plant that is distilled, the biomass, and then we compost. We gave that we give them to the worms. They transform into worm casting, and then we apply it again in our fields. So that is very important because this is like the nutrients that we give to our plants, and also we have to take care on the little nursery where we have the little plants that are going to be on the fields. So every step is very important, and I'm sure that when people visit the farms, they see this and they understand much better like what is behind a drop of oil. When I am with them on Ecuador, when they visit us, sometimes they harvest ylang ylang like for 30 minutes, and they are like very sweaty, like wow, this is hard. And I told them, okay, so you were 30 minutes working. Okay, we have people that are here working hours, and they are doing that with passion for you and also for the families. So now you have like a little idea what is behind that drop of oil. Okay, so there is a lot of effort. So many times when people go to the farms, they say, okay, so the oil is not expensive. The oil is very valuable because there is like a lot of effort behind of this drop of oil, and you are the ones that are giving work, are giving new jobs. For example, just in Ecuador, in the farm we are 140 people. So we have like 8 farms around here. So this is everything that is behind the Seed to Seal process. So you are responsible. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicholas. I like that you said everything matters. Everything matters. I think that's a great way to describe Seed to Seal. And Seed to Seal is a quality commitment. It's a set of processes. There's standards behind it. Like you talked about, it's also the people. I mean, Seed to Seal is very people-oriented, and that really sets us apart and sets apart the work that you guys do. There's a neuroscientist named Oliver Sacks. I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but he died a few years ago. And he worked with people who had degenerative neurological disorders. And some of these people were almost comatose. They couldn't take care of themselves. They couldn't tie their own shoes. And he wrote in one of his books about how they could take some of these people and put them in front of soil and plants, and they came alive, and they knew exactly what to do. When they couldn't tie their own shoes, they could take that as plants and they could plant them. And for the time that they were connected with the earth and with these other living things, they were alive again. And I think that reminds me of something that you talk about when you talk about why you love your job, Jason.
Is he skipping?
Yeah. How many of you took a picture in the goldenrod this week out of Mona? Or the lavender?
Or the lavender. Or the lavender.
There's just something therapeutic about being out in those fields, isn't there? That's my favorite part about my job. Anytime I have the opportunity to leave the office and just go out into the fields or just be on a tractor, or just go through the greenhouse, there's just something therapeutic about it. It just recharges my batteries. That's probably my favorite thing about my job.
Brett, what about you? What's your favorite part of your job?
Oh, for me, it's always been the farm events, providing the member experience that happens on the farms. And, you know, for us at Highland Flats, I mean, the key is the winter harvest event. Does anybody here experience